you.
Like always.
Thank
It's
you.
so cute. Look at Wendy. Yay, Wendy.
Yay.
Which one is this? This is the Q&A, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna use the mic even though that's silly because I know you can hear me. Look at this. It's Christmas, y'all. It's like a stocking.
Don't eat the fun dip.
I'm gonna eat
No,
it.
don't snort the fun dip.
Don't snort the fun dip. Never snort.
Yeah, I learned about that last year, and I haven't.
Just decide you're never gonna snort anything.
Yeah.
It'd be better for you in the long run. I'm just telling you.
He-
Nothing really should go up there.
He
Maybe
told
some nose spray.
he told me about that last year, and I've not touched any fun dip since.
Eat the fun dip. Don't snort the fun dip.
No, I haven't even eaten it since.
Don't
Thanks.
snort lint or salt. Or I don't care what your friends dare you to do. Don't snort hot sauce.
Ooh, that's a
People
story.
do it. It's a thing. Don't do it. Yeah, that minute of fame is not worth it.
Oh no, there was an awful lot of hits on
You're like, I don't know, I know, right? Okay, great. He made money off of it. You should not do it. You're not going to be making money like him. He already did it. It's done. Hi guys. In case you don't know, my name is Brittney Karbowski, and I have been doing voiceovers for, I keep saying 14 years, but I've realized I've been saying that for like over a year. So it's probably 15. 15 going on 16 years. But yes, I've been doing it a very long time. I started at the end of 2004. After graduating high school. I got started, I was doing musicals all the time. I did professional musical theater since I was 14 years old, all thanks to a man called Christopher Ayers.
Woo!
Yes, I would not be here today if it was not for Christopher Ayers, and also if it wasn't for Matt Greenfield. And here's the story. So I always did musicals with Christopher Ayers, and I started since I was 14 years old, and a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum. And he cast me in that, and it was a wonderful time, and some of my best memories. When I was 17, he was casting the Rocky Horror Show, but it was an all fetish version, and I wasn't allowed to be in it because I was not 18. But as luck would have it, the girl that was Janet had to leave to go do something at the alley. She had a role at the alley, she had to go, they needed a really quick person to come in, and I had just turned 18. So I came in and learned the show in 2 days, and I did mess up like the first number the first time. I double timed it. Didn't matter. And when I was doing it, Matt Greenfield came to see it with Tiffany Grant back in the day. And oh, cool, am I gonna sing? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. Fine. So I went in there and I had no idea what to expect. Yes, Matt Greenfield, there you go. And I had no idea what to expect. Do this as a career. Scream like you're getting stabbed to death. Go. And I did it, and he liked it. And that is history. And that is how I got started in the anime industry. And I did that scream and some bit parts in Gantz. And I said some things about Chris Ayers that didn't get hidden, that he promised me would get hidden and mixed in, but they did not. But tonight you can go back and hear, but it might not even sound like me, honestly. My voice was so much higher then. It was so much more high-pitched. I think my first bits of roles, my first role that was kind of substantial was Fuko in Gilgamesh a long time ago. Then I had Rhea Oshima in Detective Loki Ragnarok. I got to fill in for someone that went out of town for Sister Anna in Chrono Crusade. And my first lead was at ADB Films, and it was Alba in Jinky Extend. And then I got to be Himeko Katagiri and Pony Pony Dash, and that kind of took me off. I waited on a list for 2 years to get into Funimation as a working actor. So anybody who's complaining about your waiting list, I mean, that's for everyone. And the first thing that I recorded there was one of the twins in Mushishi with Mike McFarland. And shortly after that, I can't remember which lead was first because they were very close to each other, but I was Mai in My Santa, and I was Nina in Save Me Lollipop. And then very soon after, I got my most substantial role there, which was Black Star in Soul Eater.
Woo!
So, followed shortly after by Wendy and Fairy Tale, and the rest is history. And that is kind of how I got my start. I didn't even know what anime was, you guys. I mean, I knew what anime was, but I didn't know that was a genre. I was just like, oh, like Ghost Speed Racer? And they're like, oh, kind of. They'd be like, oh, do you watch Pokemon? I'm like, yes. Oh, that, okay. I didn't know that was anime. I just thought it was, Saturday morning cartoons. I didn't understand that this was a whole genre and actually a whole world. And I'm very happy that I was walking down the street and fell into this anime hole sewer. You know what I mean? Like the cartoons when Bugs Bunny's walking down the street and just falls in the sewer. It's kind of what happened. I'm very happy that it happened because I wouldn't be here today. And I have to say before anything else, thank you for you guys for watching, because I definitely wouldn't be here today if you guys didn't show the love that you did. So thank you for letting me be here. But yeah, the way that I like to run a Q&A is that you guys provide the Q, or I provide the A, and then if there's no Q's and there's no A's, I will talk about pizza. Because I love pizza. And I believe everything goes on pizza. Put it in the pizza. Yes.
What is the most emotional scene you've had to record so far?
Oh man, I can tell. I can't say the most of almost anything because I've done such a large amount of work that I have to do a few of them. And if I do not mention something, I'll remember it leaving and I'll be like, dang it, because it happens a lot. I'll be like, oh, I forgot there was this one scene. Oh, in that one. But I do a couple scenes that stick in my mind are from, oh my gosh, Requiem for a Phantom. I was Cal Devins, and there is a scene at the end of that I remember really getting teared up about. And it's one of those things where when you do a part like that, you're supposed to kind of wear it like a jacket, so you just take it off, but that one kind of kept with me. Another one recently that was really, really hard for me was Nanachi in Made in Abyss, and for obvious reasons. And when I recorded the first scene, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but there's a part with Nanachi's friend Mitty, and it's so terribly sad and tragic. And when I recorded it, I was actually off mic because I was really crying, but they wanted to keep it because I was really crying, but it was so off mic that they had to, they were like, oh, we gotta redo it, and I cried then too. And when I saw the premiere of Wandering Twilight at ASEN last year, they did the red carpet thing after instead of before. It was a terrible idea because a lot of the Japanese creators were on the left of me, next to me there to see the premiere of Wandering Twilight. And they were just stone-faced, I guess they created it, but there was nothing, they weren't showing any emotion, and I'm just sitting there like ugly sobbing, with snot coming out of my nose, just and they're just like, oh. And afterwards, the pictures, I'm just swollen-eyed, my eyes are this big, because I was crying so hard. And I guess it probably has a little to do with after you have a child, anything with children is terrible. And you just, it hits you in a different place once you become a mother. But I would say right now, definitely Nanachi from Made in Abyss is holding that place. Yes?
Best direction you've been given from a voice director?
Best direction. Let's see. I can think of the funniest direction, but this isn't an A2 enough panel. Trying to think of the best direction. There was, let me see. One of the most acting-wise challenging roles, not physically challenging and not vocally challenging, but acting challenging roles that I've ever had was Icarus in Heaven's Lost Property. And the reason why is I am really colorful in personality and very bubbly, and she is void of emotion. And so I don't know if I can think of a specific direction, but I remember that it was really challenging, and Chris Bevins was the director of that. And he likes to put people in roles they're not used to. Yes, awesome. I've never had this before, it's pretty cool. And he likes to challenge people, and it was a challenge. I remember recording Yes Master 100 times, because it was just not flat enough. It just had too much emotion, too much, and he would say, take less Brittney, less Brittney, less Brittney. But sometimes I get the go full Brittney, and that's a good direction, it feels good. Just take it full Brittney. But that was another thing, was that as Icarus throughout the story starts to actually learn emotion and be able to mimic it and feel it, well, not feel it, I think she's always been able to feel it, she just can't display it. But as I had to figure out a way to have emotion but not go full Brittney, because that's not who she is. So I think that was a wonderful experience, a challenging experience, and most of that direction was fun. It's don't go off, that's full Brittney, take the Brittney back. Yes.
What's it like to play multiple Misakas in the Railgun and Index universe?
It's wonderful. I have to admit I was kind of nervous when they said during, I think it was Index 3, they said, oh, there's going to be a new Misaka. I was like, what? Are you sure? I don't think I have any more. I don't think I could do anything else. And then they said she was going to be kind of sultry and darker, and I was like, oh, thank God. There was no way I was going to be able to come up with anything else. That was the one thing I had left in my pocket, so I was like, oh, I'm so grateful. It's really fun, honestly. When we go in, Jerry's like, which one do you want to do first? You know? And it's funny because if I source connect it, the engineer's always like, oh, I don't think you have that many cues. And I'm like, oh, no, that's just one name. Go through the other ones. There's plenty in there, I promise. But it was fun. It's enjoyable. Get to be a child version. Get to be a full Brittney version. Get to be, which is, best tsundere. And then get to be the clones, which, they're supposed to all be slightly different. It was fun because we recorded all of them single words separately. So, like, if they, in Railgun S, when they finish each other's sentences, we actually recorded just the and then, like, went to the next character. And then, so that it didn't sound like somebody just talking. Because it would somehow just sound connected. So in order for it to sound like different people, or different clones, that was how we did it. So it would be Misaka 10032A, and we would say and then later on in the script say they. And then we would go to the next one. And, it was super fun, man. I have so much fun with that show. I'm really happy it's back. I'm so happy it's back. I can't wait to see them all incorporated. I can't wait to kick a soda machine. It's been some time, man. I haven't kicked a soda machine in so long, and I'm just itching to do it. We haven't really gotten to see a lot of good tsundere moments, except for, like, you have a picture with my mom? But other than that, it's like I cannot believe there was a selfie with her mom. It was such a good moment for me. But yes, I want to kick some soda machines, I want to blow some stuff up, maybe walk on a roof or two. It needs to happen very soon, and I'm really excited about it. Yes. Yes.
What are some of the voice roles you've done that stand out to you as being particularly vocally taxing, and where does Wendy fall in that spectrum?
Believe it or not, the high-pitched ones really aren't that hard for me. That part is very easy.
But doing the Black Stars type gruff voices that scream a lot, those are the ones that really hurt. And I could do a boy that isn't rough quite easily, like an Eddie Mason type of sound, where you take the roughness out. So like Black Star, he's rough. But if I just do it like this, it's really not that hard. I could do that all day. So it kind of has a little bit more to do with like the screaming and the roughness. And the less that the voice is like your natural voice, the more taxing it's going to be on your cords, period, because you just don't talk like that. You're affecting it, and you're stretching or morphing your cords, or you're lifting your soft palate, and you're also adding in more air in order to produce that voice. But in general, voice acting can be taxing because you're talking more than you ever would. Because in a normal day, you might not think about it, but when you talk, someone else is talking back, and you're not always talking. You don't spend the whole day just like with your mouth open, And when you talk, you lose moisture. Literally just normal talking, you're losing all this moisture in your cords that you need to operate them. And so just voice acting in general, you don't usually talk 4 hours a day. Believe it or not, most people talk probably like 2 hours a day. Total. But voice actors are at 4 to 8. Fitting in 13 hours of recording of talking into 8 hours, and then recording anywhere from 35 lines an hour to 68 lines an hour. And that is like crying and emotions, which also would be taxing on the cords. Just think about it. If you are upset about something and you cry for a while, your voice is a little rough after. Emotion does affect the cords. And then also, if you get a little damage, what happens when your vocal cords get damaged? If you think about your vocal cords as like a violin, it is like a violin bow. So it's a bunch of very little strings, and they're all put together to make chords, right? And when the chords operate, they rub together, and that rubbing together is what makes the sound. If you have something wrong, maybe a polyp, or you damaged it, if you think about maybe like a little peanut or M&M in here and you're trying to rub it, that space in there is why you can't hear sound. So where that peanut is where you can't hear the sound. Because they're not rubbing together, they're not touching. So once you get damaged, the only way to not have damage anymore is by literally, yeah, there you go. It looks very vulgar, it is not. I go to a doctor that takes a picture, and it's really funny because you just take that picture out and nobody's expecting it. They're like, oh my God, what are you showing me? And I'm like, yeah, do a real vocal cord.
These are
They're vocal
cords,
cords,
like...
guys. And they look, if you take a picture, you'll be like, oh, this is gross. but it's not. That's what they look like.
The white, it's the...
Yes. So if there was something in between that where they're not touching right, that's when you get a hoarse voice. That's when you're getting air coming through instead of sound. But once you do affect your vocal cords and you do damage them, it is hard to come back from. The only way really to come, I mean, people got fart juice, we got low quad extract, we've got all these different things and tricks of the trade, but really that's just to stretch it a little longer. You have to vocal rest, you have to sleep, and you have to have water. That's it. It's the only things that really help. If you lose your voice, no amount of apple cider vinegar is going to bring that back. You have to stop talking. So it can heal. But yeah, I kind of went off on a tangent on that one, but it's a very good question. Yes?
How do you go about finding like the inspiration or creating a new voice for a new character?
I call it my toolbox, is kind of the word that I use for it. Acting in general is studying and being really empathetic and being able to experience emotion instantly, and especially voice acting. I have to be able to cry, laugh, run, jump, get hit in the stomach, be stabbed, and I have to be able to do all of this in some way that is realistic by sound. And the way that I do that is by constantly learning. I never stop learning. I never stop gathering. If I see someone that has a very interesting way of reacting, I remember that. For example, Shelley Caitlin Black, who is also a voice actress, does a lot of film. And I took a film class with her, and I saw something she did that I will always keep. And what it is that if she's listening, it's very slight. She points her lips at you. It's very little, but it's... And that, on film, looks amazing. So I took that in that toolbox, right? And it's things like that. And also, you have to be able to come from a place, for me, I have to be able to come from a place of accessing that emotion in real time. So I think of a time when I felt that way. So I can relate to the character. When I was that upset, when I was that frustrated, when I was that embarrassed. When was that? And then I keep that in there so I can easily access it. There's little tricks of the trade. One of them, if you really need to reach a very devastated point, would be singing happy birthday out loud to someone who isn't here anymore. Whether that be a pet or something like that. And I believe me, when you get to the end of that song out loud, you will get tears. And it will be real. And that's kind of how I do it. Everybody has different methods, but that's mine. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Anybody? So I like thin crust pizza. Yes.
Is deep dish pizza?
Deep dish is okay, man. I used to work in a deep dish place, and for some reason, I always filled the vinegar and the cheese. My shoes were so gross smelling that now I think of it. It's like I think of deep dish and I smell the vinegar Parmesan cheese. Yeah. But also deep dish is a lot of bread, and I want to get more toppings in. That for me, pizza's all about the toppings. I really could care less about the bread. So I'm a thin crust girl because then I can eat 2 pizzas instead of 1. Right? Like if I eat a Subway sandwich, I just use it as a holder and duck food, and then I just peel the bread and I eat the inside. Because I don't have room, or else I can only eat half the sandwich. There's no fun in that.
So you're not a folder?
I'm not a folder?
You don't do like the New York style pizza, fold it in half and then straight?
Oh, I do, no, but I kind of make a taco.
Okay.
Yeah, I can make a taco pizza is also very good. Just saying, if you've never had a taco pizza,
I've had taco
it's
pizza.
really good.
So good.
It isn't really a pizza. I guess if the qualification of a pizza is that it's like bread with white cheese, okay, it's that. But it's like a crunchy crust, and it's got lettuce and sausage and taco sauce and cheese, and it's so good. I'm just saying. Yes.
Sorry, I was keeping holding my hand up because I didn't know if anyone else who didn't go had a question before.
I am short. If somebody's in the back and I can't see you, let me know.
Yeah, because before I asked
Stand
him.
up, heckle.
Yeah,
Oh.
get it.
What?
Let's hear it.
Oh, I can go. Okay, so, so
Suddenly every head turns.
So you had mentioned before that you worked with in theater, like with Greg and Chris, Patton, Monica, and Chris Ayers. I have to specify who because there are too many Chris's in the anime industry.
There are a lot of Chris's.
I was tempted to make a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song to all the Chris's and the Rager and Bevins and
do it.
Case. I wanted.
Do the slide. Somebody do the this for me. Do it with the slideshow.
No, I wanted to, and I didn't. Other reasons. Anyway, so
Hairs and feathers and
yes, no one steal that idea. I'm doing it next. I'm doing it.
This idea, you guys.
Anyway. So when they and like Monica. So when they start working for like ADV, was it like, oh hey, you're doing this too, or was it like just hey? So what was it like? Seeing them really then come into the anime industry, like, I don't know how.
They were already in it.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, they were already working, like, I believe it was like Greg and Chris, Patton, and Monica called themselves the trifecta of ADV back in the day. So they were already just working all the time. I was a kind of a latecomer to that. So it was more of a like welcome to the family type deal. And especially when Chris started directing, I was always
Which one?
Ears.
Thank you.
I've been working with Chris. I think he's the only one out of at least the ADV ones that directed. Or I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Chris Patton never directed, as far as I know.
Yeah, no, Patton did. Chris Patton didn't. He script.
But working with Chris Ayers is just like it's like riding a bike or riding a horse. I know he didn't even have to tell me. We would read each other's minds. Like when it didn't fit, I'd be like, no, I got it. And we just, we were that gorgeous man. I felt like we had a serious connection in that we've been working together so long. And that a lot of ways, and also Chris has a way with his words that I just understood immediately. I didn't need further explanation, or I didn't say, yes, I understand, even though I don't, because actors have to say yes to everything. Because that's just our job. You can't be like, no, I don't get that. Explain it for another 30 minutes, because I know we have time. I did feel like I miss so much working with Chris Ayers because he was so good.
He's on his way to. I don't know if you heard.
Yes.
He's on his way, and he's said he's going to be coming back to direct and voice act again,
And
which
the world will never be the same.
And also, I forgot to say, because you mentioned pizza. At the North Market, if you have time, that's like really close to the convention center. It's not classic New York pizza, but it's close enough. They have really good, like, big New York style pizza if you have a chance to stop by there today before you. Yeah, but
Don't forget they got the little Polish place too.
Oh,
I've never had that. I don't know.
I ate at a Polish place, and I ate some Indian food, and I ate ramen. I'm
There?
just making my way around the world.
Awesome.
They have ramen at the North Market. Oh, I haven't been there in forever. I haven't been there in forever, so whatever. Anyway, thank you. Thank you.
Of course. So, anchovies are okay. I mean, yes.
Which of your voice roles do you relate to the most? And which one's most like you, in your opinion?
There's a little bit of you in all of them, because that's how you accomplish, a realistic acting experience. For me, that's how I do it. And so a lot of it is me, because it's how I would react in this situation, or like how I would get to where this character is. But there's a little bit in all of them, It's like, I don't have the goals of Yamada, but I do have the brain of Yamada, and that I have a 12-year-old boy brain. That's totally true. That has never changed about me. I love farts. I think they are the funniest thing in the world. And I don't care who hates them. I don't care. Triple butt ecstasy. Okay, I'm just saying. No, for real. I used to have a crit of Wendy from the Butt Jiggle Gang on my table. But everybody was like, do you have something else? So I had to commission art to get one that wasn't the Butt Jiggle Gang one, but that was my favorite. And they're like, why? It's a filler. And I'm like, because farts. Like I've always said in the My Hero panels, like, yes! Thank you. And Wendy in that outfit is the cutest little thing I've ever seen. And it's like padded booties. And they fight with farts. I just wish you could know. Just wish you could know. But yeah, where was I going? Oh yeah, but whenever anybody's like, oh, what's your favorite, what quirk would you like? And I'm like, I would like to send farts. Like teleport them. Like send them. Like to just deserving folks. Some folks, I don't want anybody to be heard or to this day. I don't know who I was supposed to be, but I wasn't supposed to be me. And they were doing auditions that day, and they had representatives from the Japanese company in the office, in the actual studio. And when I went in, I just opened my mouth, and they were just like, oh, and everybody was whispering, and I went into the booth and I got set up, and then Kyle was like, you know what, never mind, we're gonna audition you for Miki now. This is this character. And I actually hurt my jaw because it was the scene where Miki comes out of the hand and doesn't know exactly how to use their mouth yet. And I actually I remember hurting myself because I was trying so hard. And I booked it there on the spot, and that's actually how Miki happened. But that was the first time I'd ever played a genderless creature type character. And it was a brand new voice for me. And it was a wonderful experience. And ever since then, it kind of opened me up to the world of genderless characters, and I've noticed now as a thing about it, it's like, oh, there's a slime, has no gender, Brittney. It's, you know, there's Nanachi in Made in Abyss that has no gender, Brittney. And I'm like, I will take it. I take that. But yeah, so that's kind of when Miki came out.
Like, oh, shitty
But yeah, it was super fun. I don't know. That's what I'm saying, you guys. You never stop learning, you never stop changing, because Miki isn't that long ago. But I had never before done that voice. It was a brand new voice, so I'm still creating new voices now. And I just now, with Cami in My Hero Academia, she's like sultry and sexy, and I really have not done that before. So that, overtly sexy sound is brand new. So you can gain new things, and that's the thing about acting, is you never stop learning, and you never stop changing and adjusting and adapting. So, yeah. Yes.
I was to ask, what do you think is probably the most fun role you've ever did? The one you had the most fun with?
I currently am having a really big blast with slime, with Rimuru. I cannot wait until you guys see the OAD, and it's super unfair that it's not out right now, so I can talk about it. But literally the day before I flew out here, I recorded the best thing I've ever recorded. I don't know if it's the best, but it's the best for me. I'm a girl who loves farts. Just remember that, okay? Dicks to me. I feel like Rimuru is me, okay? I'm that person, I'm that slime. I'm that goofy, slightly perverted, never serious, or, that's who I am as a human being. But yeah, there's a part in there, it's about butt sumo. You guys, I can't wait. I really can't wait. I wish it was already out, it's so funny. But also it was in that anime I get to say fun things that never before I had been able to say. Because the thing about dubbing is that you are not making something up. You really aren't improving. It's not your job to change it, it's your job to do justice to something that has already been made. But Rimuru already talked like that. So the script would say my dude and things, so we could change it. And we not change it, but say my guy instead of my dude, things like that. So there was a little bit of looseness in the script and the way that Rimuru spoke, to where we could have fun with it like that, and it was so fun. The part where Rimuru gets to say, "Come at me, brah." I never thought ever in my career that I would say "come at me, brah" in an anime. Ever. I just never thought that would happen. I remember when Black Star got to say, "Is that Sid's grave? We should piss on it." I was like, I thought that was the pinnacle. And then I got to say "come at me, brah," and then it's all over. And we just get to say fun stuff in there, man. It's all good in the Goblin Hood, Bully Hooters. Sup my guy. Sup my guy is from Manny the engineer. He calls people my guy. So that was just for him. So there was just a lot of fun and banter back and forth in there. And we just had a really good time recording it. We still are having a really good time, so yes. Yeah. Oh, who's first? Oh, yeah.
What?
You and then you.
What's the best prank you've ever played on anyone in the recording booth?
Oh, I haven't done very many in the recording booth besides bombs, which we now cannot do anymore because someone ruined that for us. By the way, don't be a jerk, you ruin it for everyone else. Yeah, we used to leave really funny bombs. Most of the time it would be a character that is really sweet, like Wendy saying something Wendy would never say. The bombs are usually 18 and up, but if you want to see an example of a bomb, there are some B.HK bombs out there on YouTube if you are over 18 that you can check out. And I didn't know those were out there until somebody came to my table at the autograph booth and said something I said in the booth, and I was like, how do you know that? Where did that come? Oh no, they kept those, yay! And they're out there for everyone to see forever, to my dismay. But most of the time we do bombs. I've had some funny stuff happen, but I used to be a trickster, before I ever did any of this stuff, when I was a middle school choir kid. And me and my best friend used to go to the mall at First Colony, the Sugarland Mall. We did various things. One of the things we did was take all the toilet seat protectors and then hand them out to the Kids Play Places hats, complimentary at First Colony Mall. Here's your hat, complimentary at First Colony Mall, and all the kids had toilet seat protectors on their heads. And it was beautiful until a bunch of angry mothers came at us. We were like, oh, get out of here. But I did that. Me and my friend dressed in full-bodied ski suits with like the everything, like all the pieces and the skis. And we live in like, triple-digit weather. It's super hot. And then we went into like I don't know if it's JCPenney or Macy's now. I can't remember. But we went into one of the department stores, and my friend was like, I need to speak to your manager. And the manager finally comes up, and he was all out of breath. And she was like, it is way too hot in here. I am gonna complain. And he was just like, get out. And we couldn't, we got stuck in the revolving door because of the skis, so they caught us, and I got kicked out of the mall that day. But that was not the end of it. The last time I got kicked out of the mall, where I got kicked out, but you all come back in, we decided to make some very realistic baby poop. First, we got a Baby Ruth bar, watered it down a little bit, we used some applesauce, we used like some melted Hershey's Kisses, and we made some peanuts. We made some real good looking poop. Real good looking poop. And I held the diaper in the side of the trash can while my friend proceeded to go through the room and ask everybody if she could eat their food. So like while they're eating, and she's like, can I eat that? No. Can I have your fries? No. So she gets like halfway through the food court, and I'm like, oh, Camille, I found some food! And we open up the poop diaper and we just start eating it. And somebody threw up. The security at the mall was like, Brittney, Camille, what are you doing? Stop coming here. You're not allowed in the mall. So we had already been kicked out by security so many times they knew it was my name. But yeah, that was the last one. Because that time they called the cops because it was like a food. It was like a risk thing, and they had to like give people free vouchers, and we kind of screwed up everything then, but middle schoolers. But yeah, that was probably one of my best pranks. Yeah. That, or it's also fun, I don't do it anymore, but to just reach and get toilet paper from someone else's side of the So like, they're just going to the bathroom and they just see a hand come up and just grab a little toilet paper. Don't say anything, just... And most of the time it's like, what the?
While you do that next time, God, I forgot the name already. Your character from Paris. When that happens.
This is actually how we met.
That's
why you didn't recognize.
Yes, because I actually did that one time because I really needed toilet paper at LaGuardia Airport, and I was so embarrassed. This lady was angry, and I had like these sleeves on like this that are really recognizable. They were like black and red striped. I'm the only person in that bathroom that even had sleeves on, and I was like trying to wash my hands, and she was just like, just staring at me, just evil eyes, man. Haven't done it in a long time.
The next time you do that, you should do it in your Parasite character's voice,
oh my gosh.
with the hand and.
No, somebody will call the police at that point. I feel like if it's silent, it's just like they just figure you ran on toilet paper and nobody wants to talk about what just happened, and that's the best part about it. Everybody's feeling awkward in that moment.
Do you think the security at the mall would still remember you?
I don't think they're the same people, but George was really nice. George was a nice security guard. He always let us, yeah, I know him. He's a good guy. He would always let us go. But yeah, I mean, he usually thought they were pretty funny pranks. But yeah, we did a lot. We also thought about taking over the intercom system with some fun songs. We would write very fun parodies, like I'm proud to be a banana. So at least I know they're free. And I won't forget when I peeled you back and you looked up at me. I said, thank you for eating me before I turn all brown and gray. And I'm done, sorry. Yeah, exactly. Proud to be a banana. Just for fun. Yes, but anime. There was anime. Yeah, yes.
Are there any new projects, whether it be Sentai or Funimation, that you can talk about?
definitely, yes. We've got Assassin's Pride coming on. I don't know if anybody's seen Assassin's Pride. And Melita, Angel, and we were having a good time with that. She's a heavy part, man. She has a heavy history, so we're having a good time. It's a serious role. On a not serious note, we just came out with O Maidens in Your Savage Season. You might have to be a little older for that one. But O Maidens in Your Savage Season, I voice Kazusa. It is a kind of like B Gotta HK, but less goofy and more serious. So it is a coming-of-age story at about that age, learning about the birds and the bees, and kind of the adventures that these girls in their book club go through. It's funny, but it's also slice of life and very realistic, and gives you the warm heart, you know. And we just had the season finale of Food Wars.
Woo!
Aired on Toonami, yeah. And what else do we have? Missing things. Oh, we just did the OAD. At that time, I got reincarnated as a slime. And coming very soon will be some Makoto Misaka will be coming back with Railgun 3. Yes. So and there's probably something else that I'm missing in between there. I'm trying to. Oh, Ensemble Stars. Ensemble Stars has just finished. We just wrapped that one. So that as well. I know I'm missing something, but somewhere. Yes.
Hello, how are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I was wondering, in your own professional opinion and your experience, what advice would you give to someone who may not necessarily live in an area that's like known for like commission breaks, like voice acting or anything like that? What kind of advice would you just give in like the beginning stages, kind of doing that sort of thing?
See, the thing about the way that they're doing it now with simuldubs, it's almost imperative that you live there. And the reason why is that it's just not going to pay enough for you to live. You can't pay for the traveling. If you think about it, if you're recording at 50 lines an hour for $50 an hour, and your character only has 13 lines as like an episode, you're going to get $30. So if you don't live in that area, you're not going to fly somewhere every week for $30, right? Because that's not going to work out. So I would say while you are in the area that doesn't record it, there are other things you can do. You need to train for acting. You need to be an actor. Voice acting is acting, and it isn't an easier form of acting. A lot of people think it is. But a lot of people mistakenly think because I don't have to be seen, this is going to be easier. It's actually harder because when you're seen physically, like look, I can say hi without saying hi, right? Like this. But you can't do that in voice acting. You have to do it with your voice. You have to sound happy, sad, and all that stuff just through your vocal cords, without moving on the mic, without going, you know. And so there is, you do need to be a trained actor so that you can quickly access that emotion. You already have to have your toolbox full of tools. A good way to do that, besides like taking classes, is community theater. I recommend community theater for anyone. You don't have to pay to do it, you know. So it's not coming. I mean, you're paying in your effort, but it's not coming out of your pocket to train. And then you get an immediate feedback from the audience on what's funny, what's not, why they cried, why they didn't, and how you accomplished it. And then you can put those things in your toolbox, right? So, and then other than that, when you get your audition, before you move to Texas, get your audition, make sure you're gonna have a job. Or before you move to New York, or before you move to California, because those are the 3 places that do it. But I would say Texas is a hub. But you gotta realize when you go there, you're gonna be competing against a lot of other people trying to do the same thing. So what you need to have is something that is uniquely you. It'd be really cool that you can do Steve Bloom's voice, but if they want Steve Bloom, they're gonna call Steve Bloom, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to bring something that's just you. So like I bring the Brittney, you have to bring the you, right? So figure out something that is so uniquely you and so awesome that only you can do, that they need you because only you can be you. And when you get your audition, just be confident because they want to see you do well. Nobody is looking for you to fail. They don't want to see someone go in and be terrible. They want to see you go in and be awesome. They want you to blow them away. So just be confident in that you can do that. If you mess up, it's all right. Nobody's going to hate on you for it. Just make sure your second take is good. And if you have enough preparation and you've done enough acting training, you've got those chops down. It's already in your toolbox, right? So first things you're going to do are like wall-up. They're going to be improv. They're going to be background noise, like me in Fire Force screaming about Karen in the bathroom. And has anybody seen Karen? She was throwing up in the bathroom. I'm not kidding. I'm in the background of a lot of those episodes screaming about Karen. Have you seen Karen? She was in the bathroom. Sorry. But yeah, a lot of that is going to be walla, and they're going to check out your acting chops from your improv. So just, get your training down. That's really what it is. And if you want, work here. There are things to do here. You have radio commercials. I do the voiceover commercial for the Kima Boardwalk, Galveston Island Pleasure Pier. You know, anime is not going to pay your bills. A lot of voice actors do all different kinds of voice acting. So that would be audiobooks, commercials, and things like that are going to be here. You have things here that you can record, and then you can use that as examples for your demo.
Sorry, just to add, also, to give you context, I don't live here, and it's not like I live in a tiny town. I'm from Atlanta.
Okay. Oh, that's a great place for voiceover.
Yeah, so
What do you
I've
mean?
been taxed that in my
Yeah, no,
question.
Atlanta's a
It's just
wonderful
not,
place.
You know, it's not, and a lot of live action stuff I know is recorded.
Yeah.
Filmed there.
No, they've got a lot of voiceover, man. They have a lot of voiceover. And seriously, if you're like the voice of Old Navy, you're not going to have trouble getting an audition. That's not going to be an issue. But, I mean, that's a really great place to start. It's a wonderful place to live. Man, it'd be harder to do it in Ohio because there's a little less work here. But if you live in Atlanta, man, just get an agent, book some of those jobs, man. You know? I'm trying to remember who my friend's Atlanta agent is. So there was a big one. It's a real good one. But all you do, just make yourself a demo, send it in. You can make your own demo if you find a good enough studio. Just read some commercials that are already out there. Like Bayer aspirin, you know, that kind of crap. Go in and yes, exactly. I do that commercial. It's like, you know, Kima Boardwalk, Galveston Island, Pleasure Pier. Oh yeah, that's me. So like that, you know, or my friend Erica Limbeck is the Old Navy lady. You know, things like that. So there's, you know, there's things you can do, especially if you live in Atlanta. You can make it happen. But accept rejection. There's going to be a lot of people telling you can't do it. You know why? Because they don't want you to succeed. Because you'll be better than they could ever be. So just don't listen to the static, and just get out there and believe in yourself. And you can do it, but you got to believe in it. You know? Yeah. Yes.
How was your time doing flip flappers?
Oh, I had so much fun. Oh, it's so much fun at Flip Flappers. It was neat because every time I had someone, I don't remember on Twitter, and they were like, some other character, and they were like, oh, it sounds like Poppycock from Flip Flappers, and I was like, I wrote back, and I probably look like a smart nut, but I was like, which one? So I was like, she comes back different in every single world. What are you talking about? But it was great, man. My favorite was that wacky bunny episode where they were chewing on the wires. It was so weird. But it was neat, because every time you didn't know what was going to come next. I really hope it comes back. It was really interesting and unique, and obviously working with Lucy Christian is always amazing. Anytime I get to work with like a Lucy or a Monica, I'm like, oh yeah. So we were all three in colors. If you guys haven't seen that, it's a kid-friendly show. Monica's character is obsessed with poop. It's pretty funny. And Lucy's character cries all the time, and mine's like a little morbid. So they're all, yeah, if you ever get a chance, check out Colors. Mitsubashi Colors. But yeah, that was off topic, but yes. Yes?
Kind of two questions in one. One is, in any manga or anime, whether or not it's, and ones that haven't had a dub, or it may not even have anime adaptation, which character, if you could voice any character, would you want to voice? And then second question, kind of on that, of animes that don't have a dub but could, and maybe in the future if they ever decide which one, what character would you like to dub?
I don't know, because of like the schedule that we have, I don't really know of what anime is out there that isn't currently being made. And the reason why is because I'm trying to do as much research as I can with stuff that I'm already working on, so I can have some kind of background. And with simuldubs, you don't know anymore what's going to happen from day to day, from episode to episode. And so like right now, I was just recently the lead in 4 shows and principal in like something like 8. And so trying to catch up on all that manga doesn't leave me a lot of time to know what's gonna happen, what's gonna come out, and do that. I wish that I had more time for that. But really, I want to be in anything I can be in, and anything that I'm right for. I mean, as an actor, you're not right for everything. That's one of those things. You're gonna audition 50 times before you book one thing, because it's not that you're not good. It's just someone else is better for this role. And so, you know, it's kind of a gamble. That's part of acting. That's part of taking that rejection that I was talking about earlier and alluding to, is that you got to just be like, oh, once you throw in an audition, Dawn Bennett just recently put it a really good way. She said, I think about it as a bird. I set it free. If it comes back to me, that's cool. If not, it's free, right? So future projects, I mean, I would like to be a part of a lot of things, but it just depends on what I'm right for and what they audition me for, and if I'm in town for it, because a lot of it has to do with that. But I am looking forward to a new season of Haikyuu, because Yachi is awesome, and hopefully some new Food Wars and stuff coming up. We're gonna have them in this movie, and some new slime and some new railgun. So hopefully it'll be a really good season. But yeah, I'd always love to audition and try to be something new and be in something new at any point in any opportunity that I can. Yeah. Yes.
Do you have the Starstruck story?
Yes. I paid the most money I've ever paid for an autograph because I met Tim Curry.
Yes, I heard the story.
Yeah, my husband was like, you did what? How much?
I was gonna ask, when I was talking to you, I was wondering how much you paid to see him.
You don't want to know. No, it wasn't that much, but it was about half of one of those. It's the most that I would ever pay. Yes, but oh my gosh, that man. Because Rocky Horror is one of my favorite things in the world, which, thank you, Chris Ayers, because I wouldn't know about it if it wasn't for him. But that experience was one of the greatest experiences in my life ever, to this day. And so, in watching Rocky to train, I was like, oh my god, I love this. And I'm not really a super It fan. I snuck behind the couch when I was a kid and watched it underneath the coffee table, and I was terrified. And I didn't even want to take a bath by myself. And I was I think it was 7 or 8. I was too old to be afraid of taking a bath. And I couldn't tell my parents that I'd seen it because I saw it from behind the couch, and they just didn't understand why all of a sudden I had this crazy fear of the drain. So it terrifies me, honestly, but that's just because Tim Curry is that good. But yeah, I was really starstruck meeting Tim Curry. And also, pretty much anybody from my child reading Rainbow. I mean, I was like, you taught me to read. But yeah, anything like that, it's really surreal for me. When I was a kid, I didn't watch a lot of anything. I was pretty much allowed to watch Mr. Rogers and Wizard of Oz. And that was pretty much it. And I could have an hour of TV. So I wasn't one of those kids that was raised in, like a lot of kids are these days or have been in the past, and which is why we have this subculture. It was kind of foreign to me. I was allowed to read. So I just read a lot of books. But I'll tell you what, I can speed read a book. I read a book on a plane. I read a novel on a plane. I just... The most recent one was, it's A Stranger in the House. And it was very good. What was the one before that? I don't know, I'm just starting to leave them at the airports. Because I have so many books and I just keep collecting them, and I just leave them somewhere. And I'm somebody has a book this way. Because they do the read and return, but they won't take them because I destroy them. And I don't really want money back, I'm just trying to pass them on. But yes, A Stranger in the House, it was very good. You guys have seen it. But yeah, so I just wasn't, I didn't grow up on all the Power Rangers and all that. My parents didn't want me watching a lot of TV when I grew up. So I grew up on Wizard of Oz. I used to try to fit my golden retriever into a basket, and I had red shoes, and I would hide under the table, and I was that was where Oz was. And I had a yellow heating blanket that was broken, and that was my yellow brick road. And I dragged it around the house. There's pictures of me as a little kid, holding just my poor golden retriever, just holding my golden retriever, yellow heating blanket, red shoes, and my PJs. Being, yeah, my college dorm room, if you had just gone in, you'd be like, oh, this is a gay man. And then you're like, oh, wait, that's you. Because there's so much Judy Garland plastered on my walls. It was Judy Garland everywhere. I always idolized her. She just, her voice, nothing like that. Nothing like that to this day. But yeah. Yep. Yes. So anchovy pizza is cool. Just one anchovy. Oh.
I didn't know about your background in musical theater. Was it cool getting to voice Karen, Ijo, and you Starlight?
Yes, I was saying that too when people were asking about it. It brought me back to those days, and I know that it's more of a fantasy type deal, and there's a lot of fantasy to it, but it also had a lot of stage dynamics and the competition. And when I went to college and was in Stuart Oster's musical theater lab, it was very much like that. We respect each other, but we're all here to kick each other's butts and be better than everyone else. And that's why we're here. And it was healthy competition, but it was fierce competition. And the acting world in general is that way. You know, it's everybody's trying to get that same work. Every bird wants the same work. You know, and sometimes you're better than the rest, and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you fail, and sometimes you don't. But that very much brought me back to those theater days. It did. Yes. I feel you. I'm trying to chug this coffee, but it's strong and all mushy.
Yeah, okay, so we got an HK really bad now. What would you say like that, like, because there's a lot of jokes in there. What would you say that like ranks in like terms of like the funniest stuff you got to say?
It is
very funny.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I spent a lot of time taking pictures of the script and sending them to my boyfriend at the time, who was now my husband, going, I can't believe to say this. Because it was just ridiculous. Keeping it PG is hard to even talk about most of the lines that were so good, but like I said, you really should check out the bloopers. If you haven't seen the bloopers, they're on YouTube. I don't know how they got there, but they're there. I was like, Zach, you recorded that? Like, I would say some really terrible stuff. I guess if you go check out those bloopers, you can see the real Brittney. There's a reason why they cast me in these roles. It's not a matter of it being comfortable for me, it's a matter of I'm gonna love this. But yeah, I just had a great time with Yamada, man. And she was written so well, you know, that it was, I feel like Yamada was an American girl before she was even voiced by an American girl, if that makes any sense. She has blonde hair, she's a foreign exchange student, she is just the way she talks and things and her goals that are so misleading, you know, or misguided. I always thought she was an American girl, and I think that the script that they did with the totes and the for realsies, the friends with Bennies, just made it more an American girl for me, and I thought that it was, it fit. I think the script really fit. And then the euphemisms for body parts that I just have never heard of, and now I have them in my repertoire. Like coming at you with the slats open, and things like that. I never thought that that would happen, ever in my career, you know? And whenever you get a chance to do something like that, and it's in the script, and you're like, oh, this is cool. So I never want to change the script. I want to do justice to what's already done. You know, that it's not our job to change it. It's our job to translate it. That's it. Change it to a different language. But every now and then you get to put a little spunk on it, and that's fun. Like the Friends with Benefits was supposed to be, the song was supposed to be Friends with Benefits, and it was like, So when we went in to record it, I was like, let's do Friends with Bennies for the win. And that's kind of where that came from. We did. Anybody? Yes, yes!
So, do you ever get sad, like, when an anime ends, like, one of your characters?
Oh, yeah. Wendy's a sore subject for me right now. Even when I sign the pops, I'm like, it's bitter. Because I don't understand. One Piece goes on forever. DBZ goes on forever. Why can't Fairy Tail? There's still stuff to do. You know? But I'm hoping that the 100-year quest will go on, and I'm just telling myself it's not real. I haven't accepted it. I'm in the shock stage of this. And I'm gonna just sit there and just live in that stage until it comes back, because I don't believe you. I refuse to believe you're gonna end such a good show that still has content. So, just, I think I'm hoping it'll come back, like Makoto Misaka came back. I'm also hoping that one day we'll get some more Soul Eater.
Yes,
there is nothing like
please.
Soul Eater. Soul Eater has unique art, unique music, and Soul Eater for me, wasn't really Soul Eater, in my opinion. It was too poppy, the lines weren't gritty, the art wasn't as dark, and that is what made Soul Eater to me. And so, I want to see it come back in its true form, with the blood, and the gore, and the sketchy art style, and the fighting, and the screaming, and I want that back, in my life. So, yeah, it's dark, it's gritty. If you see the art is so unique, and still to this day, I've never really seen anything like it. Tokyo Ghoul got close. But I've never really seen anything quite like Soul Eater. And even Fire Force really isn't the same deal. It's an amazing show, but it isn't the same thing as Soul Eater. Nothing really, to me, embodies such a unique project. That music, I just like played in the background while I'm vacuuming. Like, you know, in the sun, and the weather had personalities. That was so cool, you know? There's no reason that shouldn't be back. So,
please.
Yeah. And then I can sign more of Death the Kid's face. Right on his face. Now symmetrical now. God, I'm a hater. No, he does.
How difficult was it going from traditional dubbing to simultaneous?
It is more difficult. It's one of those things now where like, I didn't really call in sick anyway very often. I would go in to record and then my voice would be out and they'd be like, you can't do this, leave. And that's pretty much all that would ever happen. As an actor, you cannot afford to not be dependable. They won't use you if you stop being, like, they pay for studio time. Studio time is expensive. They're paying for the studio, they're paying for the engineer, they're paying for the director, and then what, you can't bring it? So you're the icing on the cake. The cake's already been made. So if you're not the right flavor, they'll just go get a different one. That's the thing about actors, they're replaceable. And so you just cannot afford to not be there and be ready and be good. And so simuldubs make it a little bit more difficult. And it's like now, if you're like, hey, I'm feeling a little sick, they're like, how sick? Like, can you talk? They're like, wear a mask. I don't care. Come in. Because if not, you're going to be replaced by someone else for that episode. Kind of takes you out a little bit of the feel, and maybe the fans might be upset. But also, it's amazing to me the quality that they're able to create in such a short amount of time. And a lot of times people will get upset, fans will get upset about little things. And it's like, guys, we're getting it and putting it back out there in a week. That is getting 35 actors in to record in 1 week. It is being translated, adapted into something that fits the flaps, and then time coded in that time as well. This is 30 people scheduling. All of that has gone into this. So, it's no surprise if one little thing suffers because we're trying to push it out so quickly. And one of the reasons they started with simuldubbing was to battle piracy. Because the piracy has been a real issue. Studios have shut down, because of piracy. And that's why my main thing that I say about the sub and dub thing is that I don't care what you watch, just buy it. Because if you don't buy it and you download it for free, you're not supporting anyone. It doesn't matter. If you don't support the Japanese, it's not going to get made. That's kind of that thing. But it's definitely, I think it's been harder on the directors. I think it has been harder on the actors. And it's been harder on the engineers because they're overworked, man. They're doing, in Funimation, they're each doing like 2.5 shows. They're tired. You go in there and the face is like, Now, Sentai does do a simuldub type process, but they do 3 episodes at a time, and it's a much smaller game there. It's a much smaller studio. Sentai is more of like your fancy coffee house as opposed to Funimation being the Starbucks, if that makes any sense. So Funimation is this mass conglomerate owned by Sony, and they got like 25 shows going on, and a bunch of studios, and a bunch of engineers, and a bunch of directors. And Sentai has like 3 or 4 to 5 directors, and maybe 3 studios running at once. So when people are like, oh, To Love Ru took forever, it's like, man, they're doing what they can. But I will say that it's still cool because both studios really care about what they're putting out. And don't ever think those studios don't care. I fit flaps in a neck in One Piece. Apis talks through her neck, and they zoomed it in 800%, and I matched those neck flaps. It was like right here. I'm not even kidding. Now, you don't think that's effort. You know what I'm saying? Like, we redo battle screams 4 times just so that it's the right length. So, there's no lack of effort in there, but simuldubs have definitely made it more difficult, more trying. I can't go do Black Star at the cons anymore because if I lose my voice, I can't work. So, it's also changed that. But it also changes, I can't go up anymore to Dallas as often, because now that they've separated them out, we used to do 12 episodes at a time, so even a small character would have 4 hours in that 12 episodes. But now, if you're doing it 1 at a time, oh, we got 2 lines, it's 30 minutes. Well, I'm not gonna drive 5 hours for 30 minutes, so now we're Source Connected. But I'm really grateful to Source Connect, because if it wasn't for Source Connect, I probably would no longer be in those shows. Because it's just not feasible. The gas costs more than I would be paid for them. I'm thankful to Source Connect to make all the things possible, but it's more challenging, for sure. Yes?
By Source Connect, you're doing this like streaming.
Yes, Source Connect is a program that they have, so I will have the Funimation director in my ears, and there'll be a delay between our communication, but I am recording it in real time with them at Dallas, and I'm recording it in Houston with an engineer in Houston. So the engineer in Houston is running the session, the engineer in Dallas is running the session, and I don't know exactly how they go about it, but it is in real time. with a weird delay that makes it really awkward because like if you laugh, it'll be in the middle of them talking. So it's always like, oh, that seems rude, but it's just a weird time delay. Yeah, source connect, yeah. Which makes it possible for your favorite actors from LA to be in Houston to be in your Dallas dubs. That's why. Yeah. Yes. Oh, sorry.
Oh, have you ever done like more directing roles or anything like that, or just more straight?
I personally, there was a point where I was contacted and Sentai had said, hey, are you interested in this? I personally am not. I like to be the canvas that's painted. I don't really want to paint the canvas. That's just not something I'm passionate about. If I had to sit at a desk, I think my soul would leave my body. And I would rather be poor. In my opinion, just for me, that's not where I want to put my creativity. I personally would rather, like I said, be painted than paint. So, yes?
Is there any characters that you've done that changed your perspective and was thinking, or like something that you do in paint?
You know, there's a lot of times I get a lot of other actors that talk about these harem shows and these lewd shows, and I have a very different opinion on them. Because I think that it's the same sounds. You could literally take my sounds from Monster Musume and paste them into a slice of life show, and you wouldn't know the difference. They're both this. It's the same sound. It's the same sound. But that's just me personally. I'm trying to think of an example of something that has changed. Oh, Pride? Oh, Pride is evil. Pride's just straight evil. There's no good in there. There's none. He creeps me out over that. Because usually in anime, if there's an evil character, you're going to get a reason why they're evil. You're going to get some kind of backstory or something that makes you feel empathetic towards that character. Pride is just evil for no reason other than Pride is evil. Just made of evil. Invented out of evil, you know? Even when, in the end, when Pride's reborn into like a child, I'm like, oh, that poor mom. There's no way that kid's not going to be terrible. There's no way. That kid is just, no, I don't know. But, I mean, yes, because when you are recording any anime, the situations they're in are almost fantastic, something that wouldn't happen to you in real life. So you're always thinking like, wow, I've never thought of it that way, because that's something that you never would be able to put yourself in. There's a lot of things, I found it rewarding to work on like LGBTQ shows like that, and voicing genderless characters has been a new adventure for me. I'm constantly going, oh crap, they. You know what I mean? But I welcome the experience, because it's about time. It's about time this world changed. And that's great. Because I've always been in that line of thought, you know, but it never was okay before. Now it's like, you know, well, it always was okay, but it wasn't on anime, you know? So it's nice to be any part of that, you know, of that movement. It's a beautiful movement. Yeah. Yes, Liz.
So when it comes to voice acting and acting, how do you feel about having groups representing all of you and lobbying for higher wages and better work quality? How do you feel about that?
One of the things that I'll hear like in autograph lines and stuff like that, a lot of people will be upset, like, oh, but the autograph's not free. And they'll be upset about that. But you'll have to realize that, say, I'm recording Index, and Makoto Misaka comes in about, 4 times during that show. Each time is 30 minutes. That means it paid me a total of $200. That's what I got paid for that show. I'm not going to get residuals. I'm not going to get any money off the sales of the toys. I'm not going to get any money off the sales of the DVDs. That is it. That's what I get paid for that show. The only other way to have any other income is by making some kind of quality print and paying an artist to commission that print, and then paying to print that print, and then coming to cons to meet people and sell that autograph. And so I feel like if we had the opportunity to be paid a bigger wage, we would have less of that. And less of that it would be we would be able to do that a little bit more. When you get a free autograph at a con, it is paid for by the con. Just so you know. It's never free. They're never free. The con will pay for like so many autographs at this rate and this amount, and that's why it'll be like, oh, it's free on this or it's free on that, because a lot of times you're making something called a guarantee. You got to make so much money in order to be at that con, right? Or else you won't be invited back to that con because they go, oh, you don't bring anybody in. So it's kind of become that, and I feel like if we could battle that by getting a wage that was more of a living wage, then we could actually bring it back to the old days of fandom, and that would be possible if we could make a living wage off of it. But the amount of time demanded by simuldubs means we cannot have another job. I can't call into work every Monday when Funimation calls me for whatever day of the week they need me. So I have to just do this, but it doesn't pay enough to live off of. So how do I keep doing what I love and have a 5-year-old child that has to go to school? How do I do this? How do I live and still do anime dub? And I feel like that would make it so much easier. Yeah, for everyone. Yeah.
So, out of all the characters that you play, is there a certain character, like a certain few characters, like more than any of these that you will always ask to voice? And like, are there any that like, you can be honest, like that you get tired of, or like, you kind of like just something people ask you to say, like a line or something?
I never really get tired of it. It sucks because I want to voice Black Star all the time, but I will lose my voice. If I sit here at a con going person after person and screaming, I will surpass God, I'm going to sound like air. And then I'll go into record Thursday at Okratron, and they're going to be like, what did you do? You don't have a voice. And you did it for free. So it kind of, it does suck when you can't do that for someone. I bet people come up and go, but I don't believe you. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I don't know what you want, man. I can't do it. But no, I never get sick of it. It's one of the funnest parts about it. Because there's nothing more rewarding than knowing your performance actually mattered to someone. So if all I had was YouTube comments to go off of, I would be like, I need to quit. Sorry, most of the time you go to YouTube and everyone's up there and they're like, it's the wrong voice for the character, but they don't like watch dubs at all. So like, how would you know? Or they're like, I like subs better, and I'm like, but do you speak Japanese? Because you're making a comparison, but you don't speak both languages, so how in the world can you make that comparison? I mean, that's fine if you want to watch what you want to watch, I don't care, but like, you gotta be fair here. If you don't speak both languages fluently, how can you even argue one's better than the other? Because you don't even know. You couldn't know, But I don't, like I said, I don't care if you watch dub, I don't care if you watch sub. Honestly, Japanese Seiyu for Rimuru is one of the most adorable voices I've ever heard in my life. She just tickles me. And there's so many performances that are just like, hands down amazing. But yeah, I guess this is just one of those things, One of those things. Can't make everybody happy. The people on YouTube all download their crap for free anyway. Oh, okay, sorry. We are flagged for time. Last question. Oh my gosh, in Hawaii, the Japanese Seiyu for Rimuru was there, but I couldn't get in the line. I couldn't even get in her line. It was like capped. Like I was in my line, and then she was signing, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna move over, and it was capped. But my friend Derek right here got me an autograph because he's awesome. Thank you, Derek. But no, I wanted to, man. It is just so hard to even get there. It's like but yeah, that would be a dream. Like really a dream. I want to meet this Seiyu from Angel Beats. Because I very much respect that woman. And her performance was, but yeah. Thank you guys for coming and listening.